with you.
Okay, guys. Evening. I'm no different than what I was in the last 3 or 4 games. We're taking baby steps forward, but you look for signs, you look for signals, you look for moments. When you think of the best teams, when I think of the best teams in this league, we spoke long and hard before the game about Nashville having a never say die attitude. The amount of late goals that they score. That shows that they're a good team with the right mentality, the right togetherness, and we showed those qualities tonight. And when a team scores late on, I think it's a great sign for everybody. It's a great sign for everybody inside the club that we're heading in the right direction. And we knew that the substitutions were going to win the game for us. Federico, Indiana changed the game. Breck added energy on the left-hand side. It was a 3-game week. Ryan came on, shored it up. And Victor came on and was just Victor. So I'm super proud. We are taking good steps forward. There's still more to come. And we're now beginning to play like I expect an Inter Miami team to play. We're playing with an identity. We're playing with the right style. And we are super happy tonight. And we're going to enjoy the win.
Now, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Now we're going to get started with Franco.
Thanks, Rafa. Hey, Phil, congrats on the victory. Just wanted to ask you what the sensation was on that final play. Obviously, there was a promising-looking attack there. It gets interrupted by the referee. There's some frustration there. Then the play continues, and a great goal, great cross from Federico, and a great finish from Indiana. Just what were the sensations and the feelings like in those seconds up until the final whistle? Thanks.
Well, I think I was incredibly angry when the referee stopped that ball through. Like I'd gone a little bit, and then I turned around and Federico had that ball in an area that we work on a lot. The ball, in that little lane that we call, and then it's about the quality of delivery. And if you ask me why did I put Federico on the pitch, it's because we needed quality in the final third, and he's produced a moment of absolute magic. And Indiana probably was our best player in the second half, and they both deserved that moment. He's defying logic, Federico, in terms of his performances. And I've got to say Pizarro was fantastic as well. And we've got great options now, but the system seems to be suiting them. And it was one of complete joy. There was 5 minutes of overtime. I think I wouldn't have been happy with a point. I thought our play deserved the victory, and I think I would have been disappointed at the end because it would have been 2 points dropped in a home game where we want to keep building momentum at home and winning in front of these incredible supporters. So I think it was just rewards for our performance. It was just rewards for our efforts. It was just rewards for the work that the boys have been putting in, and that's it really.
Next question, Chris Whittingham.
Thank you, Rafa. Congrats on the victory, Phil. You mentioned how Indiana was the best performer in the second half. What did he give before the goal that you felt like that was kind of his just reward?
Well, I think the difference in the second half was that we had more attackers on the field. In terms of Lewis came out to the right hand side and Indiana in there. It meant that there was a real penetration and real width and attacking mentality on the right hand side. When you play 2 fullbacks as wing backs, you get probably a more defensive type mentality, and I think that was one thing that we wanted to have real solidity in the game. But with Breck and then with Lewis going to wing back positions, we knew we would get more penetration from wide areas, which would create more space inside for Gonzalo, for Fede, for Pizarro, and for Indy. And what Indiana started to do was he started to penetrate in behind Romney, and that was something that we'd worked on. So. And he was just someone that held the ball, turned and run with the ball. It took us up the field, and that triangle was supported by Leandro on that right hand side as well. So it was just that triangle on the right hand side caused them problems. But the penetration of Lewis and Indiana in particular was the key.
Next question, Steve.
Oh, thanks, Phil. Thanks, Rafa. Hey, Phil. Just about Indiana. I mean, it's a big move, isn't it, for a 20-year-old kid who's been playing in the Premier League to come here? Can you just talk about how he's settled in and what he kind of brings to the team?
Well, he's been an absolute breath of fresh air, and he hasn't got the opportunities probably from the start that he deserved, but every time he's come on, he's created an impact. But every time he steps inside the training ground, he has this incredible energy, and he almost, people feed off that energy. There's a positivity, there's a smile, there's a morning, there's a goodbye, there's an energy about the kid that seems to have been infectious around the group, and he's really, really knitted together a good young group of players that we've got. We've got a really good crop of young players coming through, and he's in there, Lewis is in there, then you've got Sami Khedira, Ascona, Harvey, you've got Amay, and then all of a sudden these guys are creating real energy, and he's been real like a breath of fresh air. And he's close now to starting games of football, and he's give us a real problem.
Next question, Mike Di Pasquale.
Thank you, Rafa. Phil, you say that you still need a lot more work to be done to climb up the standings, but you lose 6 straight, 4-game unbeaten streak. What do you attribute this turnaround to have the boys believing it's not too late?
Well, we showed them a picture after New England of a mountain, and that's what we had. We had a mountain to climb. We showed them a picture of Everest, and we showed them. We told them a story about what it takes to get to the top of Everest, and you can't get to the top of Everest with just on your own. You've got to go as a group. You've got to go every stage as a group together. You've got to help each other. And New England was almost like, that was as low as it got. We couldn't get any lower than that. It was time where our reputations were on the line, and we came out. We took some punches, we accepted the punches, and we all of a sudden started to play like a team. The goalkeeper's made a hell of a difference, I've got to say. His composure at the back, it's give the team composure. And I think that is probably what has helped the team more than anything. We've started to realise that we've started to believe in each other, we've started to trust each other, and slowly we've worked every day. We're a fitter team. We're outrunning most teams now, and I think that the work that we did in when we had 3 weeks off, and we put them through a real heavy workload, and I think we're beginning to bear the fruits of that.
Phil, if I could follow up, 3 of the next 4 games, including today's matches, are at home. Is this the critical stage right now to pick up these points as you try to climb up in the East?
I thought today before the game, I said to my technical staff, and every single one of them agreed, I thought today was the critical one. I thought today was the critical one in terms of where we want to go. We have got 2 games in hand, but them mean nothing. We're going game to game, but today was the one where it's a little message inside the building that we're starting to believe, build, and gain confidence. And we know we had a tough stretch on the road. We know that the second half of the season is the most important part of the season, and we know that our home form will determine where we will finish in the year. But we're not getting carried away. We are feet firmly on the floor, and we want to take each game as it comes. Every single game seems like a big game, and I think the team are relishing that.
Thank you, Phil.
Next question, Jose.
Thank you, Rafa. Phil, can you talk a little bit about the patience from your team, especially in the second half? You seem to be in control of possession. And before, we have seen how opponents take advantage of the counterattack game. And it seemed like today you were pretty much in control, even when you were not ahead in the score. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of having patience at this time, especially turning things over in the last few games for you guys? Thank you.
Well, I think we're having more control in games of football because we're having the ball more. We've got better options on the ball, and players are beginning to believe and trust each other with the ball. So that's given us more options. The system change has helped a little bit, but I'm not putting it down to that really, because I think we had it when we played 4 at the back against Philadelphia and against Montreal. We just had players in the right mentality. We had players that wanted to win the ball. When you play Nashville, you've got to compete first. You've got to win the headers and the tackles, and you've got to stay with runners. And we're beginning to do the jobs that I call the ugly jobs, and we're beginning to do them well. But without doing the ugly jobs, you don't win games of football. So it's beginning to look like a football team where we all enjoy watching. That's all I'd say. When I'm a coach and I see them train, they come into the training ground. I come into match days totally relaxed and totally chilled out, because I know I have a far greater feeling about what I'm going to see, because I see it day in, day out. Elite performance is about consistency in your behaviours and in your performance and about your mentality. And I'm now beginning to see consistent performances on and off the field, consistent behaviours on and off the field, which helps contribute to successful teams. And when I came into this game today, even when we go a goal behind against Orlando, I'm relatively calm because I have trust and belief in the style of football that now the players are having belief in as well. And that's the biggest thing. It's took time. And it does take time to build, but we're beginning to see what we want to see.
Last 2 questions. We'll go to Lauren here in the room, and then we'll finish with Franco.
Thank you. Congrats, Phil. The entire Inter Miami CF Academy was in the stands tonight. When we were down, when we scored, when we won, they were cheering the whole entire game. I was with them. Can you talk about the impact of a game like this for the next generation of players of the academy?
Well, I think for the academy, I think we encourage them to come to every single home game because, one, to see the supporters, to see what they're fighting for, and I think that's really important, and 2, to see the quality of the football on the field. And for large parts of this season, we've not seen that. But what they're beginning to see now is what it takes to be an Inter Miami player. And when we see them in the training grounds and when we see them in their trainings, we're now putting big emphasis on what the qualities we are. We see we're building the academy. It's going to take time to bring players through, but we've got some good young boys that next year we will need. We will need academy graduates to graduate into the MLS team, and now what they're seeing what it takes. The characteristics of an Inter Miami player, I think, are really important, and those are the ones that we recruit, those are the ones that we develop, and those are the ones that we train and see every single day. And there's some great work, fantastic work being done in our academy, from Darren to Pato to all the guys, Javier in the under-17s. We're now beginning to see the fruits of that, and in the next 2 or 3 years, I think you'll see a lot more homegrown players be inspired by what they saw tonight.
Last question, Franco.
Thank you, Rafa. Phil, just 2 quick ones. Your 2 of your DPs connected on the equalizing goal that sparked the comeback. What do you think of their performance, obviously, and obviously on their connection on that goal? And the second one, I know you said that you don't attribute this turnaround just solely to the formation change, but you have stuck with this new look since you made that change in the Montreal game. What has this formation brought? What has this system brought for you guys and improved for you guys? Obviously, on the defensive side, I think it's helped out, but just curious to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you, Phil.
Well, I'd say, Franco, that the 3 DP players played like 3 DP players. All 3 played like DP players. When your DP players play like that, we will win games of football. We will challenge for the playoffs. Blaze, I've got to say, I've not seen him play better than what I have in the last 2 or 3 weeks for Inter Miami. Gonzalo in the second half. What I think about Gonzalo in the second half is that if he plays at that level, if he makes tackles, if he runs around, if he plays with that quality, the whole team, staff, supporters are inspired. And he's inspired. So that's his level. That's his level, and that's how good he is. He's world class. Blaze is world class. Pizarro's world class. We saw that in the Gold Cup. So when them 3 are playing at that level, we will be a better team. That's their challenge. That's what comes with being a DP player: the expectation, the pressure, and the need to deliver every single game. Now you look at Gonzalo's numbers. His numbers are fantastic, and he needs to keep producing those moments because we need to start beating teams 2, 3, 4 goals. We need to start scoring more goals. The system is something that I've looked at for a long time. Even before I played it in the last job I had, it was something that I'd been looking at. And I think we've got good players to play in that system. What you need outside centre-backs that are really comfortable on the ball. And with McCoon and with Leandro or Kelvin in the last game, we've got players that are comfortable on the ball. It's give us control in games. But I've got to say, watching New York City last night, we've got to be adaptable with our system. When teams play lots in midfield, we've got to make sure that we match them up in midfield. So it's a system now that we know we're 4-2-3-1, 3-4-3, 3-5-2. We know we've got 2 or 3 systems that the players are comfortable with, and we've been working really hard with these systems for the last 3, 4, 5 months. Now we're beginning to see it flow.